partnership, yes, 5 more years. 5 more years of the Prime Minister, 5 more years. 5 more years of us and business, 5 more years. 5 more years of better future, 5 more years. Drop a bunch from me, you voted figure. 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 Rowley, I hear you're lying so much. And change your name now to Rowley Maharaj. When Pnm rule this country, it must think with money. They spend it recklessly and break the economy. If they want to call the hat, first they feel the stupidity. Now election coming back, they try to frighten me. That's why on election day, 7 September, we not vote Pnm. We not vote Pnm. Because if we vote for them, we gon' be in real problems. 5 more years of the partnership, yes, 5 more years. 5 more years of the Prime Minister, 5 more years. 5 more years of us and business, 5 more years. 5 more years of better future, 5 more years. Drop a bunch from me, you voted figure. 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 Dr. Rowley, that man like he going crazy. His power he fighting so, lying to Trinbago. He bring out the email gate, all the things he fabricated. How free for power to be Prime Minister. That's why on election day, 7 September, we not voting Pnm. Oh, we not voting Pnm. Cause if we vote for them, we gon' be in real problems. 5 more years of the Prime Minister, 5 more years. 5 more years of the partnership, yes, 5 more years. 5 more years of us and business, 5 more years. 5 more years of better future, 5 more years. Drop a bunch from me, you voted figure. 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 Hey, Rowley, go lick the Obia man, go. It'll lick a ton from me, go. Dr. Rowley was acting wild. He whining on a little child. The raging bull, why not she? The media and the whole world see. That man is a real disgrace. That man is a total waste. Rowley only playing the game. That's why he should break a jail. That's why on election day, 7 September, we not voting Pnm. We not voting Pnm. Cause if we vote for them, we gon' be in real problems. 5 more years of the partnership, yes, 5 more years. 5 more years of the Prime Minister, 5 more years. 5 more years of us and business, 5 more years. 5 more years of better future, 5 more years. Drop a bunch from me, you voted figure. 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 Rowley, mind your mouth, twist like Ramesh, you know, I find you lying.
Who you voting for?
Who you voting for?
Who you voting for?
Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for?
Oh boy, I tell you people, the massive go sign. Everybody's talking about this song.
Monday, 7 September.
They love it, massive.
Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for?
But I got a bombshell to drop today.
Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Make sure and remember.
15 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock.
Monday, 7 September.
Da-da. Da-da.
Monday, 7 September.
I like that one, you know. Monday, 7 September.
Who you voting for? Who you voting for?
partnership.
Who you voting for? Who you voting for? Partnership.
Nah, boy, I have to bring Naimul Gosain here to tell me how he composed this song because it have lyrics. You know, I was by Trotters having a lunch today, and you know, several people met me to say, Gladiator, where you get that song from? I said, that is Naimul Gosain. Anyway, let me welcome Archbishop Baba Burke. Pleasant good evening to you, Archbishop Baba Burke.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Greetings to you.
And pleasant good evening to you, Barry Garcia.
Good evening, and good evening to Trinidad and Tobago and all who are streaming on the World Wide Web.
And also good evening to Junior Barak.
Good evening, Gladiator.
Let me tell you all this. Y'all don't know what y'all cause nationwide today. Former Senator Archbishop Baba Burke and Senator Junior Barak. Y'all have created a storm today. I mean, just ask Barry. Barry, how this song lunchtime?
I was taken back with several phone calls and people asking me if what Junior Barak and Barbara Burke is saying is true. I said to prove what they're saying is true, I would be on the program this evening, and I want all to listen because I would be adding my information to it, and everything will be collaborated, and you will see where that this man we calling Dr. Rowley, this black-skinned man who is a Oreo biscuit, black outside but white inside, I will expose him to Trinidad and Tobago.
Now, let me go straight to Archbishop Baba Burke. Archbishop, you know, while we were preparing to come on air, you know, you were seeing a lot of things on the question of young people living a life of crime, young African people living a life of crime. And, you know, you were sharing some ideas with me, Archbishop Baba Burke. Please explain to the listening public, because they would want to hear, not only Gladiator, but they who are listening this evening, they would want to hear what you have to say, the ideas that you have, and you wish to share to the entire nation. Proceed, Archbishop.
Beloved family, friends, I was telling Gladiator a while ago, I was watching a young man with his hands in handcuffs behind his back in a police vehicle. And I was telling him that's going to be a thing of the past soon, because many of these young men are not educated. They refuse to go to school, and this is why. But this is why I'm so interested in education. On the land that we have there, our secondary school will be built. Plus, we're going to have a trade school next year. Plus, we're going to open agriculture, open up the agriculture. So if you don't want to go to school, we let you plant. If you don't want to plant, you learn a trade. And by getting them educated, knowing how much grains of corn they had to put in the hole, what feed we put the cassava, and we have the sweet potato vine running, that I know these youths going to get involved and they're going to leave crime. The father and the grandfather might be in crime, but they would be in crime. I given ourselves 7 years in Malone. 7 years, and I know Trinidad and Tobago, you see 11 trillion. Young men, they have no land to plant, only stone, and in other words, we have a concrete jungle in Laventille. But when God should assist us, we have land, and our people could delve in. They would work, you know. I had them planting pumpkin. Some youths from Mover, Maloney, Laventille, don't had some from a yarrow and over. Those youths not in crime. They plant the pumpkin, they learn how to, because I had 2 pump, an electric pump, which we used to put in the river, pump the water and wet all the thing. I used to supply Hilo in Maraval and all about cabbage, pak choy, and those youths work. I ship a sealant, a pumpkin from Trinidad to Miami. So I know what I tell those youths. Yeah, when I started, I used to have to prepare make grocery and carry for them to eat every week. And when I come now and I sell the produce, I only had a car. And I used to park the car, so they park the car for me. And I sell the things, and I come and I pay them. And they were happy there. Down to Gypsy son. Gypsy had a son that was working with me too, you know, in the land of Dame Maloney. So I want to tell you, that we see there, going to be a thing of the past. Let us keep heart with those young men, and we are going to transform. We may not transform these that are already out of hand, but we're going to save a generation. Gladiator.
Yes. Now, I want to pose this to all three members here, individuals here. The question is, have the African leaders failed the African community? And the reason why I raise this question, I raise it in respect to the fact that when we look at our prison system, the majority of the people in the prison system are people of African descent. And this is like a dangerous legacy that is going to be left for the future generation if these things do not be corrected at all. So the question is, we have had so many African leaders of very different organizations. Is it that they are not doing anything? And I speak in political, social, welfare, all over. Let me start with Archbishop Bababuk again, and we come across to Barry Garcia, and then after we come to Junior Barra. Do you think the African leaders are just fooling African people, and when they are in office, they don't give a damn, nothing at all, about uplifting African people and reducing the number of inmates in prison? Because I mean, I say it is ridiculous. A small country like Trinidad, with so many African young people involved in crime. Archbishop Bababuk.
Yes, the black leaders has failed our youth. Firstly,
and before I go further back, because you hear them call on radio stations, on several radio stations, and you hear them talking about black consciousness and black this and black that and black the other, and nothing is being done. It's just talk.
Gladiator, that is a climb on the poor black people back to reach to the top. And when they reach to the top, we have a classic example of PNM. They use the people all on the Beatham, all in Laventille East, Laventille West, Maloney, climb the ladder. And as they reach into office, they do not look back. This is a fact of life. So this black thing is to reach up here the wall. Why all between the 5 years, nobody does be talking black? Only when coming to election, everybody know how black conscious they are. Nonsense. A pack of rubbish. But I want to go a little further. What went on in this country with this school? I of the firm belief we are reaping what we had sown. Because we had children who's going half the school, the parents working all day. When they come from school, no supervision. Those who are going in the evening, they had the morning to run by the neighbor, go by the beach with the boyfriend, the girls, the boys and them. These fellas, the drug lord was recruiting them to sell the drugs. Who not drug lord? Recruiting the young boys to go through the smallest hole in people's homes, in business places, to commit robberies. So the worst thing happened to this country. I don't care, some might say, my child went half the school, but it's a doctor. I don't have time with that now. You had to wear it all. Some granny, some auntie, you had the funds to pay somebody to look. But those who had nobody to look after them, they are astray.
Well, the question is, and we go to Barry Garcia. These things are happening among PNM constituencies.
That's right.
What it is that the MP, the elected PNM MP are doing. I mean, take for example Maloney. Take for example La Hockedam. Take for example Laventille West, Laventille East Mover, Port of Spain South. Barry Garcia, is it that the PNM MPs have failed the African communities miserably?
And that is absolutely correct. They have failed the African community to such an extent that the African community is almost at a state of disrepair. And they have to take blame for where it is today, because if you look at all the constituencies, I could understand Pinal, Debe, I could understand Shogunas and Caroni and all those places. All right, you talk about alligators from the Murky Lagoon. My question to the PNM, why where there was Murky Lagoon is now a city, and what's supposed to be a city is now a dump? Where we have the largest concentration of PNM votes and mainly African people, it is in the most dilapidated conditions. It is unkept, and it is not unkept because the people want it that way.
No.
It is unkept because they have been neglected. Completely neglected. I am listening to Don Sylvester today talking about Sentence East. And Gladiator, you know why I could attest to what Don Sylvester and what the UNC is saying? During the PNM internal election, Penny Beckers, I was supporting Penny Beckers. And we walked through the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago, and we walked mainly in PNM areas. And when we looked at some of those areas, it was appalling to Penny and all. She and all couldn't understand after 40 years of PNM representation, people continuously voting PNM, why these places, no roads, no proper infrastructure for development, no water. Some of them, she couldn't understand it. She couldn't understand it.
I was at a loss when I fought the Laventille West seat in 1995. I couldn't believe all in Picton Road had outhouses. Junior Bark was my campaign manager. And all inside of the kitchen right here and the outhouse right here.
But Archbishop Barbara Burke, it is not just about the politicians alone and the PNM representation. No. Where is the African organizations to speak on behalf of the African development? And this morning, in listening to the program, the only time you only hear Kafran Kambon is around July, August, when they want money for people to prance in the road.
Yeah.
You hear the steel band movement want money because they want people to prance in the road. But we have all the cultures within our community that could make us develop people, and we're not using it for the right purposes. And those people who came as leaders for the African cause were misleaders. Were misleaders because they make everybody believe that black people are allergic to money.
They can't do business.
We can't do business and that is why Mr. Manning started opening up places like Nedco and all of that. But again and again, we people who are supposed to treat with some of these things for these depressed communities, the people we put on state boards start to drive about in backseat of car, and all of a sudden they don't know who you are.
Barry, today, we have to expose the African issues. We have to expose the problems within the African community today. Because we know we have spent donkey years lecturing at the University of Woodford Square. And we know the ins and out and the games members of parliament played with African people among the PNM stronghold constituency.
But Glady, before you go to Junior, Glady, you, Junior, and myself were lecturers at the University of Woodford Square. And we had several meetings with the former Prime Minister, Patrick Manning. And we used to bring him to Woodford Square to hear the cries of the people. And he had a genuine heart.
Funny enough, every week Patrick Manning would pass through the square because he used to go to church.
Yeah.
And
but we're going to come back there.
You'll come back to that.
Junior. Plenty crime, African people living a life of crime, involving drugs, involving all of these things. And here it is, these things are happening among PNM stronghold areas. Has the PNM members of parliament failed the African people?
It's a colossal failure. And one of the fundamental reasons why they fail, and sometimes I believe it is like it is something like they don't even understand why they are failing, because they tend to hate us.
Slaves.
Every big business that they call in, and right now they are pointing fingers about Kosal and Junior Sammy and others. Those businesses were created under the PNM. Those are not businesses that were created.
You're saying that Junior Sammy and Kosal, all of them were created under the PNM?
Those businesses grew under the PNM.
We've been working really hard.
I think we
deserve
I think we have 24 minutes going up to the hour of 7 o'clock. Yes, let me come back to Junior Barak as we discuss this whole issue of PNM constituency. And let me just mention of the PNM constituencies, the area that I speak of. Here it is, we're speaking about Diego Martin West, Diego Martin Northeast, Diego Martin Central, Laventille East Mover, Laventille West, Port of Spain North, Port of Spain South, Arima, La Arqueta, Maloney, Junior Barak. The PNM MPs that have governed those areas over the years, is it that they want to leave the condition, the state of African people in continual poverty, depression, underdevelopment? You speak, Julia David.
Junior Bar.
Junior Bar.
Junior Bar. Sorry about that. Junior Bar.
Yes, I want to say this. In my work in the field over the years, and that's about 30 years of work on the ground, on every occasion, there is an opportunity for the development of African people. Whether you form an organization, whether you lobbying for a particular development in your community, the members of parliament in the PNM area shoot it down.
They shoot it down?
Yeah. And not only do they shoot it down, but they come at you personally. They attack you. And in the case of myself in Borneo North, with the member of parliament and Mr. Rowley and his cohorts actually tried to get me locked up as a terrorist. Now,
was that over?
They tried to,
for
yeah, they tried to get me
right.
locked up.
Okay, we will discuss that later.
Right, because what they do is, as you strive to work, they undo the work. I'll give you an example.
So what you're saying for the listening public is that any African person that is concerned about developing a constituency like Laventille, Port of Spain, South, they're going to
come at you. They come at you viciously, and your life is at stake.
Go ahead.
Right now, there is an area where in Borneo North there are a number of families, mostly Africans, who have farmed lands in certain parts of Borneo North for over 50 years and more. So what happened, I was working with the community, so I decided, well, I will help them get the lands because they were there for over 50 years and therefore they have a claim to the land. So when I started to work with the people and so on, eventually they moved to make the lands available. There was a particular member of parliament who was a minister of agriculture. When the time come for them to move closer to getting the lands, he told them, forget Junior Barak. I will get these lands for you all. And to tell you the truth, he left office over 5 years ago and he never did anything.
That's Jared Narian speaking loud.
It is not, I'll give you another example, and I brief. in Diego Martin.
Where is part of Diego Martin? Central?
Diego Martin in Rowley's constituency.
Right.
We taken Scorpion this time.
Oh,
The
yes.
people, you have people living 200 and 300 meters up to the back of a particular place. There's a little incline to go up there. I went down there and met the people because I was doing a survey for a debate I was having in Parliament. And the people say, what, you could help us? I say, well, what's your problem? He say, well, look over here, we live in the back of this area here. We would like to have a road here. But our MP say you have to get a step. So I say, let me walk with you all. I went up in the back, I saw where the people lived. The people and they are living very far from where you want to put the step. And what they used to do is to drop their gravel to the bottom of the hill, the little incline, and tote their gravel 200-300 meters up to the back to build their home. So I said, but you all need a road. They said, well, the MP say we can't get a road, you could only get a step. I say,
Who was the MP?
the MP is Mr. Rowley.
And you're talking between 1991 and 95?
Yeah,
Okay,
when
right.
he was a
Beautiful.
member of Parliament there.
So he was also a Minister of Agriculture?
Yes, he was a
Beautiful,
minister at the
nice.
time.
Lovely.
So I said, but listen, but you can't get a step here. You need a road. I said, could you all put some money together, like buy diesel and to pay a tractor driver? They say yes. I said, all right. So we went, they threw their barbecues and other things and that kind of area. And while they were getting the road, while that period was coming, Rowley attacking me in Parliament. The Hansard could reveal, he came to the Senate and he said, Junior Barak, stay out of Diego Martin West. Now, why do you want me to stay out of Diego Martin West? Now, why I'm going to meet these people is sometimes called a hotspot light. Because I had to drive through areas which could be really terrible. But I still do my job. And the people went, they got their monies, they threw barbecues and so on. They got their monies and so on, and I brought the tractor. They cut the road, then they had another road going down by the river and across. They cut that one too, up on top of the hill. They cut about, I say, close to a kilometer of road. And then the UNC came in and fixed the road. Lo and behold, if I am talking here this now after Dexter Lee's mother, the former strike squad player. I'm talking after her now. She told me, I went down to see her recently, and she told me, she said, Junior, it hurt my heart. Mr. Rowley, apparently, she's claiming, bought a piece of land up in the back where the road is, where they fix their road. And he drives up there with his big arm Bronco on their road that they fix and goes up to his land without even telling them good morning. Now, these are wicked areas that happens. If you check the Diego Martin Savannah, for instance, and a number of issues. Now, these people do not like you to work. Every time you work and they see you come in doing something positive, they attack you.
Gladdy, so it is a conspiracy not to develop these areas at all. Keep it down.
But Gladdy, I'll go further. I will help you here. Junior Barak was the lead delegate for a number of squatting communities throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And they were protesting. And I got Junior Barak to meet with Prime Minister Patrick Manning to discuss their plight. Let him tell you what went on in those meetings.
Well,
Explain.
This is one of
The public outside there saying,
this is one of the.
let me tell you this. A lot of PNM people called me while I was having lunch at Trotters. And they say, Gladiator, we love what you're doing and we want you to continue on that topic where African people must know what time of the day it is today. Continue.
Yeah.
Tell them exactly
what
what
happened is that there was a loan agreement between the IDB and the government of Trinidad and Tobago. In the first instance, it's called the second stage, first phase. You're doing 5,400 squatter sites. You're going to build up lots and so on, service lots and things. Now, the second stage, the second phase of that development is 7,000 lots. At 3 years into the program is not started. Rowley signed the agreement as Minister of Development, and as Minister of Housing, he has now the opportunity to implement the same development he signed for. When we realized, I went to a meeting, I got all the documentation, so I know that Bonnet North, Bagatelle, up to now people in Bagatelle may not know that Bagatelle was on the loan agreement as well. Rowley's constituency, he will not fix it.
Don't fix it.
Well, what we decided that we're not going to go all about, we'll just concentrate on Bonnet North. So we started to have demonstrations, and we came down to, we got the minister, the commissioner of police to give us 1 month permission to march around the parliament and the Ministry of Housing 2 days a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. And so we started over the march and so on. And when the problem started to get crunch, Mr. Manning came into the picture and he called us to a meeting. So we called him for a march, waited until he come back from abroad, and we went and meet him. Rowley, Camille Robinson Regis, Jarrett Narain, Garcia,
Ozzy Francis.
What Garcia is? Yeah.
Noel Garcia, he was the CEO HEC.
And Ozzy Francis, and the Prime Minister representing that particular team. Myself, Smalley, Diane Bishop. We have another Paul Gart Hines, Chris Gomez, and myself represented, and another lady called Corinne John represented our team. And when we started, the Prime Minister asked me to start. So I gave my point of view, my perspective, and then he stopped me. Well, I finished, and he asked Mr. Rowley to say his part. When Rowley started to talk now, he started to lie. Blatant lie. I said, I got to talk now. I got to intervene. The Prime Minister told me to hold my hand.
That is Prime Minister Patrick Manning.
So he pointed to raise up his hand. You know, he has a kind of style. Tell me to hold. I held. But Manning then talked to Rowley, turned to Rowley. But what Rowley didn't know is that every time we send letters to him, we CC one to the Prime Minister. So all the documentation, the Prime Minister have a little pile in front of him. Prime Minister say, I have letters. Just so he tell Rowley. I have 1, 2, 3, I have letters. He said, this is what I want. They have a plan. They have a plan for their area. They want to develop. Just so. And he started to talk to Rowley and so on, and Camille Robinson Regis and so on.
Camille Robinson Regis was there too?
She was the Minister of Planning at the time.
And
my God.
opposing the Prime Minister at the time.
And they were posing him in the meeting.
And
he
started to talk to them and thing. And when he said, I want you all, because he asked us what we wanted them to communicate with us and to participate in development properly. We want the community to participate in development. He told them what he wants. Camille jumped up and opposed the particular perspective. The Prime Minister put it down. Rowley started to talk. Rowley opposing the interaction of the community and the community having any say in their own business. And then eventually the Prime Minister got so annoyed. He said, this is what I want. Because he wants them to...
Patrick Manning said this is what he wants. Okay, go ahead.
And he had to repeat himself about 3 times. And when they saw that he was really angry, they then backed down. They were supposed to communicate with us, and they did not. I wrote him and have the document at home. I wrote him telling him that they failed. Do
you still have those documents?
I have those documents. He said they failed.
You have the evidence.
They failed, but you know how we operate.
Yeah, you know we the famous phrase, come with facts.
And this man won't be taxed.
And the Prime Minister replied to us, his office replied to us, thanking us for informing him of where this matter go, and to be rest assured that it is receiving his full and immediate attention, right? And that matter went on. Eventually, he had to start the development. But I want to tell you, Gladiator, what was bad about that? There were 27 communities to be fixed. 27. Bonnet was 1. Bagatelle was 1.
Striker Village was 2.
But Grandy had about 3 or 4 communities inside to be fixed.
And all those areas.
You know what that man did? He let the money was supposed to be there to fix those communities in 3 years. He let the money run. The time run out. And when we
Black man.
started protest, it was just about 2 months before the reporting period for the loan. Reporting
Black
period
man.
means that the loan's supposed to come to an end. You're supposed to spend the money in 3 years.
Black man.
And he did
Black
absolutely
caucus, black
nothing.
man, the lead.
The prime minister had to direct him to to get the loan to be continued. He said he will eventually agreed.
Going.
He eventually agreed that it has to continue, and eventually they finish. They got this. I want to tell you something, Gladiator. Out of the 5,400 lots that was supposed to be done, only 3,002 was done, because the amount of time they took to do the project, the cost of material and labor went up. And projects that were supposed to cost $20,000 in the case of $20 million in the case of Bonnet cost $40 million plus, and without it finished. Up to this day, when the PNM left the Bonnet community, there is no water in the pipes in Bonnet. There is the sewer system has never worked, and all the infrastructure is in the ground.
Down in the soil. We must carry
They leave the community, and there is no money now remaining in the IDB loan arrangement to finish the project.
And you know how much money was borrowed? 40 million US. You know who signed off on that loan in 2002? Patrick Manning and Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley was the Minister of Planning and Development, and Patrick Manning was the Minister of Finance. And that money, and it was a soft loan with a reducing interest rate by the Inter-American Development Bank to develop squatting communities. That was the purpose of that money. $240 million TT dollars. That man let that run away. Bagatelle unfixed. Strike his own constituency.
And these people talking about voting PNM.
Listen, if there is a man, what he did in Bonnet was just wicked. He almost got me killed. He come in the community, he had a whole meeting to tell the people of Bonnet not to follow me. I am fooling them. That man, that fella, let me tell you something. I don't know who the rest of the people in Trinidad and Tobago know about Rowley.
They know nothing.
But I have many encounters with him. I will not lie on him. And if he challenges me, I'll bring my evidence.
Bring the evidence.
There's a living prime minister there right now,
Prime
and I
Minister.
call the name of all those people who were there, including Camille Robinson Regis. Right? Who had meetings.
But you want to be prime
right?
minister.
And also Jared Narayan.
And Gladdy, let me add
No, so Blackfield would see hell. Laventil would see hell under him.
But Archbishop and Gladdy and Junior, let me even add to that. In 2002,
I am very stunned. I'm stunned.
Let me give you 1 year. In 2002, Cabinet had taken a decision that they were going to regularize the piece of land at Mokorapo for the Jamaat al-Muslimin. That is in September 2002. And the 14th of September 2002, Mr. Manning had to rescind the decision. And because there was a
that happened.
That happened. And because there was
You sure you're not lying at all?
No, that happened.
I'm not lying. You see the data calling. You could go and check it. The 14th of September 2002. We were about to go into election in October.
They was going to regularize the land for the Jamaat
al-Muslimin.
Let's hear it.
And there was a palace coup led by Dr. Rowley that went up to Mr. Manning's residence. And let me tell you who the persons were. Keith Rowley was leading the team. Ken Valley, deceased Ken Valley, Camille Robinson Regis, Colum Imbert, and Camille Robinson Regis. And they threatened to bring down the government if Mr. Manning did not rescind his decision. They threatened the man.
He's alive.
And he had to call a press conference the very said night.
Do you remember when he gave the press conference?
The press conference, and if you look into the press conference, the pictures from the press conference, you will see those 5 standing up behind him. Those were the people that went up to that man's house and actually hold him to ransom to rescind the decisions not to give the Jamaat al-Muslimin the land. And that land has been a contentious issue since 1969.
And so to answer your question, Gladiator, the PNM leaders, the PNM members, not in the same degree, because I work with Ronald Boynes and Roger Boynes in Sandy Grande. and it is the greatest level of accomplishment in terms of local government reform. The very one that they are using now as a flagship for their general election program. That program was put together by myself and the two boys. Although it is Mark Regional Corporation, it is myself and Ronald Boynes and Roger Boynes who put that program together. That is the vision for Sandy Grande, the Grande vision, right? And that vision is now the Pnm flagship, and they're only using it. They're only using it to get the votes.
The votes,
because you notice they kick Ronald to the curb.
Kick him out.
You know they kick the Boynes to the curb. That since the election, the internal election, Rowley has not spoken to the Boynes.
Never speak to them.
This man is using work of people who have worked very hard,
very hard,
spend nights and toil to develop ideas and put it forward in the national community, and he's taking it as his own, you know.
And I will tell you who that work started on there. It started under that work started that local government reform. There is a white paper and there's a green paper and a white paper. Okay, put it in any order you want to put it. But that work started with Mistress Hazel Manning, and the three main regional corporations that were the forefront of that document was the Port of Spain City Corporation, headed by Mayor Murchison Brown, the Tunapuna Piaco Regional Corporations, which was voted in #1 run corporation in Trinidad and Tobago. Second was the one in Sandy Grande run by the Boynes, and third was Mayor Murchison Brown.
Well, may I say that both the both documents from Port of Spain and Tunapuna copied and was directed by Mrs. Manning to follow the lead of Sandy Grande.
And I would even argue that. And you know, part of that consultation in bringing that whole document to fruition, Subhash Pandey and Suraj Rambachan were also there.
Ask Suraj Rambachan.
So we have the evidence.
And right now, you cannot even get he would not even speak to Boynes. So as a matter of fact, the kind of areas and Movilang they spread against him, and they try to destroy him. I don't even think that the Boynes and they have a chance with Rowley, because the vindictiveness is palpable.
But if they're in his party, what about the Laventille people? That's why I want to know what he going to do to if you're not talking to members of your party.
And I want to come there right now because a well-known politician of the Pnm party, and that politician is also a member of the executive, told me personally, when I raised the question, why does not the Pnm come with a plan to redevelop Laventille? And the response of that well-known current executive member of the Pnm party told me, Gladiator, how the hell we go win the seat in Laventille if we develop it?
Yeah. That's a normal.
It's a keep it down.
I wondered if the person was making a joke.
And I don't know what's wrong with them Pnm people.
I am wondering if the person was making a joke with me. Is there a conspiracy? Is there a conspiracy by the Pnm not to develop Laventille?
I will tell you this. I will say
absolutely.
Yes. I will say, and not just the Pnm, you know. The members within the PNM, they will have to say the PNM, yes, but there are certain individuals within the PNM who is seeking the interest of a special interest group who wants East Port of Spain from those people up there.
And they have been trying to move.
And they have been trying to move the people from the last decade. Archbishop, 1 minute.
Wait.
Prime Minister,
all of them. Are there people who want to develop Laventille, but PNM people does not want Laventille to be developed?
There are people in the PNM who wants to develop Laventille, and there are people in the PNM who do not want Laventille to be developed.
For Laventillians.
It
must be developed for the rich.
For the rich.
When they go up on the hill,
explain.
When they go up on Laventille, and you look over Port of Spain, it is one of the most spectacular views you can ever see.
Yeah.
You can see down into Venezuela. You see over the Gulf of Paria. You can see all down in South San Fernando and the furthest parts and so on. And you can see down right down into the west. It's beautiful. It's just a spectacular view. Now, The lands up there is valued at millions of dollars a lot. Right? It is the most expensive lands that they have decided that exist in Trinidad right now in terms of housing lots or business lots. Right on top of Laventille up there.
I want you to repeat what you just said.
Yeah. It is some of the prime real estate, the top. They are trying to move out Laventille people, and therefore
That is why they encourage
they
the
will
crime.
not develop the place.
And they will
the
not
more the
do
crime
anything.
take hold. Right now, there are people in Laventille can't live in Laventille.
That'll move.
The intensity.
Yeah, we have to pay some bills. We're coming back. We're coming back. We're coming back. Nine minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. And hey, citizens of the Republic, I got a bombshell to drop before I bring back in the guests. I got a bombshell to drop. And word on the street, a well-known soca artist, have composed a song, and today the Gladiator got a taste of that song, people. And that soca artist has gone to the People's Partnership. When you hear that song, when the Gladiators give him the green light to drop that song, it's going to rock TNT. I got a taste of it. And I tell you people, when you all hear that song, I think it will mark the end of an ambitious person. And when you hear the name of that Calypsonian, the whole of TNT is going to ball. Jude, I ain't gonna ask you that. But how you feeling who's that Calypso?
Of course I feel I know who's that man.
Nah, you ain't feeling who's
I could start to sing one of the verses right here for you.
Hush your mouth. People, bombshell coming. And I am going to drop the bombshell on this radio station. Go and tell all and sundry. A bombshell is coming very soon to 91.9 FM. A Calypsonian is prepared to sever ties with the Pnm. And that Calypsonian came to Gladiator and said, Gladiator, you want to hear what I have? And I want you to drop it. And people, when I hear that song, a 6-minute song, it is going to rock TNT for this election. I ain't giving all no clues, all the guess. But when I get the green light, I go drop it on this radio station. Bombshell coming. I wonder if anybody could guess who is that Calypsonian? Say, Gladiator, that is it with me and the Pnm. I want you to drop it. But we have guests here. Let's get back to the situation here. No, don't mention no name at all. Yeah, they don't mention no name at all. We had a whole back that. Don't mention no name. Yes, Junior Barry Garcia Baba Book.
I wanted to ask Barbara a question.
No. Just no, Barry. Is it that when you look at Lavantil, can it ever be redeveloped, or it is a failed area? There's no area in Lavantil, or the entire area cannot be redeveloped? Can anybody answer that?
I want to answer a particular question because
Because that's what they're saying.
My grandfather had 14 children in Lavantil, right? I am one of his grandchildren, and he has many great grandchildren. My relatives in Lavantil.
Somebody have the phone somewhere. Yeah.
It's my family in Lavantil big, and when I started to work taxi, what we call pull bull. I pull bull from Mover over the hill to Piccadilly Street.
Yeah.
Right, as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old young man. So the Lavantil is in my blood, right? Most of the work I do outside of Lavantil is really because if I go into Lavantil, there is too much problems to make the work in. So I then find myself doing work in Diego Martin and in Borneo and all those places. But really and truly, Lavantil is the place I want to be. Now, Lavantil could be developed. Lavantil has some of the most talented people. All basketballers, footballers, Latta P, Lafore, all basketballers are the best, the most effective, most brilliant sportsmen you could get. Most talented pan players, brilliant, learn 2, 3, 4 tunes. A man come at night and just learn a tune off a pan without even reading music, learn the entire tune, right? There's have men playing on 4 and 5 bands from Lavantil because of their skill and dexterity. The creativity is incredible. The people is just waiting for a leader to take them. Somebody who would work with them and help them to develop their talents, not to undermine them. So one of the things that's in Lavantil is the lands. The land situation where you have significant levels of persons who live on private land as either squatters or renting, and the next set of persons on state land as squatters, and you have private owners as well. But the problem in Lavantil now is to stop trying to take Lavantil away from Lavantilians. Let them own the land, and if they want to sell the land and move out after that is it. But don't try to move them out and try to harness the richness of the land itself for your personal benefit. Give them the land, and I would like to see a government so organize the land situation in Lavantil that the Lavantil people own the lands, and then if you want to buy it from them, let them be free in an open market to sell the values which they have developed over the years. So Lavantil is easy to fix, but you cannot fix Lavantil by moving out the Lavantilians out of Lavantil to give the value to other people.
How do you explain that they are trying to move out the Lavantilians from Lavantil?
There are 2 phases. One phase is to keep the crime levels high in Lavantil, so that the younger generation will kill out themselves. And by the younger generation continuing to kill out themselves, the older generation will move out of Lavantil. And they are moving out.
And is it that the Pnm party is condoning that?
But they're talking about it.
But they're not even speaking about it. They're not even considering that problem. They're not even. But they're beautiful, because I remember. And if you and Junior and everybody could remember, I was at the head table in all the peace meetings between the various warring factions in Lavantil and throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And it was a common conversation coming across. Let them kill out themselves so that eventually we will just get what we want easily.
Yeah. So this with the Rasta city and the Muslim city, that is a deliberate conspiracy for the people to kill out themselves in Lavantil.
But Gladys, let me face facts. Could those little boys in Lavantil who are working for minimum wage could purchase those weapons they're getting? You know how much for a FAL? A FAL is almost 10,000 US. That is 60,000 TT. You know how much for AK-47? You know how much for AR-15? I mean, you could get sidearms for $3,000 and $4,000. They could afford that. But when you look at the high-powered weapons that these fellas and them carrying, those things are up in the past 10,000 and above. And I'm talking US dollars. Understand where I'm coming from? How you getting these things up on those hills? Which little black boy in Laventille have a house down the islands that had $800 million worth of cocaine that caused a business place to burn down right thereafter? Which little boy in Laventille could afford that type of lucrative drug trade? And you have to understand that there is a total conspiracy and a concerted effort to get the people to kill out themselves. The older folks who can't take it, they will run. And the young ones will kill out themselves because, and they're doing a very good job at it, because if within every 5 years, you check the amount of murders that come from East Port of Spain alone, East Dry River, East Port of Spain, you check the amount of young lives under the age of 25 that was destroyed through that drug trade in Laventille. And that is one of the reasons Mr. Manning was removed as Prime Minister also, when he decided to attack that, because he realized it was his black people was being destroyed by this effort from a special interest group.
Now, Aruka Maloney, that whole area there, and I want to zero in on Maloney, that area called Maloney. Why it is the conditions of the people, the lifestyle of the people is not at a level that is motivating for the young people, that crime is also there.
Ask Camille.
Well, one of the first things you have to understand is that...
Ask Camille about Regis. Ask Camille Robinson Regis. You and Junior can answer that. Ask Camille Robinson Regis.
Did she made every effort to develop Maloney?
Vote against the bills when you bring in the parliament. Vote against the bills. But the Prime Minister tried to regularize the squatters before the election call. Those people, it passed in the lower house. I was there.
Yes.
When it reached up to the upper house, people that nobody voted for voted against the bill.
And I will tell you something. We were in a walkabout with Camille in Camille constituency. There's a place just south of Maloney called Peytonville. You know Camille didn't even know that was her constituents? You know that? That woman did not even know that was a constituency, and for months Dale and Tony used to be calling on Penny Beckles to fix that area, and that area didn't fall within the constituency of Arima. It fell within the constituency of Aruka South.
Now that the area up there is developing, like for instance, you're having jobs coming in, you have a number of industries coming up, some of them service industries and so on. The people are going to start acquiring jobs and their livelihood close to home. But when the development first started and was first completed, the people had to travel from Maloney to Port of Spain to work. And that is a problem for supervision for children, for parents, the amount of money you spend and the amount of time you spend on the road, the amount of money you spend in transportation based on a low income, a low paying job and so on you have. So when the PNM developed Maloney, it should have gone on to develop industries close to Maloney that would have service the people close by. And also, they should have empowered the basic cultural tendencies of the people in terms of their religion and culture, so that they will then develop a sense of self. And a sense of pride and a direction into the future. What is lacking with the PNM and what is deliberate, in my opinion, is how it destroys every African organization of worth that tries to make its way to help African people. The PNM subverts that organization. The PNM is jealous. It claims African people for itself.
Yeah.
It demands no other party but itself, like no other God but me. And once you do not go along that line, they move to destroy you. And anything that attacks or try to align itself or compete for the people of African descent sentiments and support to develop, the PNM kills it.
But Junior Barak, but then where is the evidence that African people was developed?
At this juncture, The lines are open. The lines are open. Let me just tell you the number: 622-9154, 628-1158. The US of A line 718-874-3860. Tobago line 639-0791. Before I go and take the first call, Junior Barak, Barry Garcia, Archbishop Baba Burke. There are those who are saying black people does not want to become millionaires or billionaires.
Nonsense. Give them the deed. Give them the deed. Give them the deed. You see this Prime Minister? When she give squatters deed, you know what's going to happen? You're going to see how much thing they want.
But not only that, you're saying you give your support base to the PNM all your livelihood. Okay? All your life, the African PNM depends on the African votes, mainly the African votes, to go into government.
Yeah.
Okay? But why it is the Africans that supports the party?
Have no deed.
Not only have no deed, why are they the least economically strong? Why are they the weakest in the economics? Not just the banks. I want to show you something. Kusals, Junior Sami, Sierra Ram Brothers, Garadas, not only get loans, all of them, Motilal Munan, all of them were made millionaires and billionaires from a PNM government.
Yeah.
The Syrian community in Port of Spain.
Let's take this caller here. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening. Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I just want. Hello.
Yes, we are hearing you.
Yeah, I just want to know if I hear you saying that the PNM didn't develop the black area. I just want to know if they develop the non-PNM area.
Good evening, caller. Good evening.
Stupidness, yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening. Interesting discussion.
Yes.
But it's 5 years now the UNC is governing Trinidad. What have they done to elevate the problems that African people have?
But you can't fix it. Just a whole 100. Caller, just wait. Let me intervene with him one time. You cannot fix a 40-year-old problem in 5 years.
No, they can't, but what have they done? I understand what you say, but they have 5 years. What have they done to
But they have already. But you already see.
Just tell me what have.
Let me handle this matter.
Because we hear your statement, but you keep repeating it over and over. Junior.
Let me now. People want people to get billions of dollars immediately, but one of the fundamentals in the development of the Hindu and the Muslim community is their religion.
And their education.
Now, when you have their religion functioning and their culture functioning, they get the schools. And then they start to educate their people. And their people become doctors, engineers, lawyers, etc. And then they go off into businesses. And then they expand and they grow. When you have a government or a political party that undermines the culture of a people, what you have is the manifestations like the movement of the Rastafarian movement coming up. The people are looking for identity. The African people are caught now looking for the identity. So you have the Rastafarianism, Islam. You have a number of figures coming up because who doing it? It is the Orishas and the Shouters and other people who are looking for these areas. Most of the Muslim youths in Trinidad and Tobago, their parents are Shouters and Orishas. Most of the Rastas is the same thing. Because when you undermine their religion, then they believe that they're not worth anything. Their ancestors were not intelligent enough to develop a way of life that is worthy of their commitment and can contribute to the development. So what has happened is an artificially imposed system that knocked the African off of his pedestal. And what is amazing, they survived slavery and colonialism with it. You know?
Yeah.
Because the Kambule riots and all those years when they had to ban the Shouters still emerged. They still emerged as people. But when they reached the PNM, my God, that is when the areas went downhill. Now what you're saying all African youths and so on who are Muslims, they are rebelling against a system of oppression. They are rebelling, and therefore they choose Islam to deal with it. The Rastafarian movement is the same thing.
Same thing with Rasta City.
Yes.
So
what you have to do first is to fix the fundamentals, the culture, religion and culture of your people. Unless, if they respect their culture and they choose on their own to move out, there's a difference. But when the system itself is undermining the culture of African people, they can go nowhere. Chancellor Williams said it in his book, The Destruction of African Civilization. He said a traveler was moving through Suma, and when he was moving through Suma, he met an old man. He asked the old man, where are the people of Suma? The history, legend has it that they were black. Hear what the old man said. He said, they lost their culture, so they died.
Right.
It is incredible.
Right.
This guy in Arjuna, when he was confronted
in the Gita.
When he was confronted with a situation that Krishna was telling him, hey, the greatest thing for you to do is to fight for justice and freedom. Fight for it. Do what is right. Right action is important. He said he was talking about what will happen if the two sides come together, because we're uncles and family on both sides. And he talked about when they fight, the men will die and the women would not have husbands, and they could fall into decadence and so on. And then he said, the wise say, he who has lost his culture is lost indeed.
Good evening, caller.
Hitler white.
So we're taking the calls. Good evening, caller.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Panel there, and the report back when you talk about the land and those things under the Pnm. It was connected that when Steve Rowley was stood up in Parliament against running under the Urban Development Bank company and spoke about Paul the Hart and these billions of dollars. It then brings to the light that he, Steve Rowley, misled nations and innocent put blame on money, which was not true.
Entertainment, information, and conversation all day. The street, the street, the street, the street, the street, the street.
Good evening, caller. Good evening. All right, the person. And we are back. It's about 23 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock. Good evening, caller. Oh, sorry. Good evening, caller. I'm now fixing that thing there. Good evening. All right. Wasn't taking too long. Yes, coming back to what we are speaking about here. There seems to be a sickness among African people when it comes to money. Is either they are afraid to demand or to become millionaires, billionaires, or there is a conspiracy not to make an African man or African people millionaires. On that note, we go to IT McLeod. Junior Barak, remember I told you to hold back that fire for this evening. Tell us why IT McLeod, an African businessman, died a pauper.
Well, what happened to IT McLeod is that he trusted the PNM. And he got one of those major...
Why did PNM would do that to that man?
I don't know. Is the worst choice. Is the worst specimen to do the experiment, the wicked experiment on.
And you have so much African people calling on radio stations, and so much a black organization all over the place. And you know, it seems as though like this whole thing is a game.
Yeah.
Continue about this IT McLeod.
Now, when IT McLeod is a great man.
Yes, I met him.
Man.
As
a matter of fact, our family is indebted to IT McLeod.
Yes.
When Bar Construction is a business in Barbados.
Yeah.
We did probably a significant amount of millions of dollars. We built 9 stories and 5 stories in Barbados. IT McLeod left Trinidad and went to the government of Barbados and assured them that he's backing Bar Construction to a tune of a certain amount of hundreds of millions of dollars. And we prolonged contracts accordingly because we needed the backing. IT McLeod, when my father offered IT McLeod money, he refused it. He said, all I want you to do, Mr. Barak, is to finish your contracts. I know a genuine man when I see one. I know, and quite contrary to people, my family is not afraid of money, right? Now, the point is that IT McLeod...
What was his relationship with the AGC?
The AGC, what happened is that he won a contract.
Right.
Right, that is to build the housing development program there, and it was a massive program, over $200 million TT, and some little problem happened, and the AGC decided that they want to terminate the contract, and when he offered his valuation of the work done, he offered about 70% complete. And they valued his work at 30% complete. They took away the contract from him and they gave it to
Under
Donald.
which administration that happened?
The Manning administration. Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah. Because if you check that amount of money, for a 40%.
Who was the minister back then? Esther Lager?
I would not be able to pinpoint who it was, but I know Noel Garcia.
And Noel Garcia was the
CEO of HGC at the time.
But why his name keep popping up all the time?
Yeah.
Continue.
That was very painful because IT McLeod, every African person who had some thing to do and you couldn't get government funding or any areas, IT McLeod was there. He was a backbone. If you're going to lose your house, your business falling, you can go to IT McLeod. 90% of the time he will help you, if not more. That is a great man.
He does help people.
That was a great man. And they brought him down, But
they took the maximum prison from him.
Took him down hard. And Archbishop said...
They now gave IT McLeod the maximum prison was a bill. I said what he the man tell me of himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he helped them with Bally's house, paying rent and all kind of thing. And that is when he now put them out of office. And when he worked with them, Ella and Dell and all of them to bring them back into office, Barry and all. And when they got back into office, they asked him what he wanted. He said, you want to just leave him with the contracts he got from now. You know the first thing to do was to take away the maximum prison from the man?
Lord have mercy.
Barbara Book is not lying because at the point in time, Clive Zander was the head consultant together with Ozzy Gene Chase for the Arima Health Facility.
That's right.
And IT McLeod was the quantity surveyors.
That's right.
They was the quantity, the QS, and ENCO was the structural engineers and all of those things for this. So what you see is happening there, they're not lying. At the time, the Minister of Works was Mr. Colum Imbert. Okay, the chief engineer was a fella called Peter. Trying to remember his name. But anyhow, Emily Elias was the contractors with NH to build the hospital.
That's right.
The architect for the maximum prison was Calvin Benjamin. If I'm not correct, Calvin Benjamin. And the Minister of Health at the time was John Eckstein.
Oh.
And the Minister of National Security was Russell Hogmouth Huggins.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm listening to the conversation and it's very interesting. But I want to find out something. We know the blacks is under a lot of pressure because of lack of education and such like. But could you prove to me, in every revolution that they are involved in, if they ever lost?
But where's the relevance to this conversation?
And could you elaborate a little bit more?
Good evening, caller.
Yeah, how?
Yeah, coming back to this IT McLeod Junior Barrack, who have labored in the vineyard. Let me just clear this line here. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
You all said that the PNM government has made millionaires or certain contractors. I think you all call like Monilal or Munan or someone else.
Yeah, Munan.
Right. But my question is, the present government administration, right? Because the PNM had made a number of East Indian contractors millionaires, as they were saying, but the present government, which Africans have they made millionaires in the 5 years?
But that is the question. That is a beautiful question. Yes. Why you want to allow this government to come in 5 years to make black people millionaires when we had 42 years of PNM governance with 2 oil boom?
Yeah, but I want to see
why? Why you want to put the blame on Kamala's shoulder now?
No, it's not a matter. I wouldn't say it's a matter of blame. He wants to know what has happened during this time. And to tell you the truth, I don't know to what extent millionaires were made under this government. What I took from my cue is the area of the cultural engagement, the commitment of the Prime Minister and her administration to treat with the Baptists and Orisha and other peoples on a level playing field, to give them an opportunity to take charge of their education going forward. I thought that was a profound gesture, and the fact that a secondary school and other things are lined up, I would want to go with for this point in time, the educational command in terms of giving African people control of their intellectual space and their spiritual space and their academic space. And this is where I thought that this is important. Yeah.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, good evening, Gladiator.
Hey, long circular. Good evening to you.
Yes, the Barry and the rest of them.
You was catching your aunt, uncle, and then to get in.
Boy. It's hot this evening. But I just want to answer the last question there. I mean, I don't know how many Africans that this government has made a millionaire, but I can call a few, Gladiator.
You go ahead.
Karen Ashe in 2011 got $2 million for winning the Calypso Monarch. First time in history that a Calypsonian monarch got $1 million and over. $2 million. Dwayne O'Connor got $1 million that he was made a millionaire. And Chucky Gordon on 2 occasions, the last 2 monarchs, he won and got $1 million on each occasion. So that just 3 at the top of my head there.
The churches under Kamala Prasad Bissessa, Prime Minister, give money to the churches.
You know, all Barry Jr., as Bishop Baba, all we laugh. It's coming so nice in the sense that because over the years, Calypsonians
never get
they'll get him at 20,000. They'll get him 100,000.
Since Kamala Prasad Bissessa is Prime Minister, all the churches get funded.
The Baptist churches and they got.
I tell you, long circular coming very good.
Very good.
because why I say coming good? Here it is, Junior Barker speaking about culture, respecting the culture of the people.
Yeah.
And here it is. My PNM party never respected the culture of the African people.
And never respected the churches.
Under a People's Partnership, Calypsonians became millionaires.
And the churches should give money to the churches.
Good evening, caller. Good evening.
Good night, Gladiator.
Yes.
And all the rest of the panel, they great program tonight. But I must say, as a black man, a young black man, black people's biggest problem is themselves. We are our worst enemy. And living in a context where we have such a real diverse system in terms of different ethnicities. And I mean, having people in the national movement being the first political party and the oldest in this country's history since begin independence and in electoral politics. To me, the PNM, they did a horrible job in making the black people, I should say, aware of what is our status, because as Mr. Junior said, we have no identity. We live in a country where we want to be America, governed under English laws. And the PNM, they, as Barry put it, they let the special interest group / financiers put so much of thing into the PNM that they made us divided between the two most, how to put it, the East Indians and the Africans in this country. And I think Ms. Kama Kosa, yes, she's doing a great job in trying to govern this country and improve the lives of the citizens. But until we, the citizens of Trinidad, especially the black citizens of this country, wake up and find our identity, we'll be going nowhere. We'll be keep going wrong and wrong and wrong. And I mean, you all the educated people at tonight, yes, they still haven't callers calling in and trying to derail the program with all kind of different nonsensical issues. And I think this is our problem as black people. As I say, we are our worst enemies. I'm enjoying the program. Looking forward to hearing more on it tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said, man.
Now, as he mentioned that, Junior, the PNM has a plan, a $60 billion rapid rail. Do you think African people, or should I put it, who are the people that is going to benefit from the $60 billion rapid rail?
Well,
Barry Garcia Jr., Archbishop.
Let us assume that they're going to get the build the rapid rail.
Yeah.
Obviously, the PNM are going to hire their traditional contractors, as they always do. And the poor black ones who want to be millionaires right now would not even get a dime out of that money.
What are they?
So what
$60 billion? You mean to tell me that they ain't gonna say, well, let me take on $1 billion?
As a laborer or a carpenter or mason, yes. If you happen to be one of the technical teams and so on, members and so on, technical persons, engineer, whatever, yes. But in terms of making the millions and so on, it is highly unlikely that the PNM would give these contracts to African contractors. And it's a shame, because I can tell you something. If Rowley comes into office, as much as you condemn SIS, we'll have to now condemn Emile Elias, because he's giving him all his contracts.
All the contracts.
He already claims that he's his friend.
Good evening, caller.
Yes, Ricardo.
Hey, Clive Nunes.
Yes, man. Over 2 hours are trying to get me, man. Over 2 hours.
I can imagine, Clive
All
Nunes.
right. Let me read something for you.
Go ahead.
You know he's a very good historian.
The Trinidad Guardian, Friday, September 13th, 2002. Manning, time to end the Jamat row. There was a decision taken by Cabinet in 1995 to give the land to the Jamat. Not only what was in dispute, but the other pieces of land that they developed from the swamp. That was in 1995. And then Pande came in late 95 after that Cabinet decision. Manning went back. And in 2002, right? This is dated Trinidad Guardian, Friday, September 13, 2002, when Manning said time to end the Jamat, right? Within 48 hours, a palace coup took place, headed by John Rahel, and he was able to split the cabinet, okay? And they pressurized Manning to call a media conference.
That's right.
And the Sunday Express of September 15th, Bakar about faced by Manning. And when he called the press conference, look at the picture I have here. Ken Valley, John Rahal,
Yes.
Keith Rowley,
Yes.
Camille Raty,
Yes.
and Imbert.
Yes.
They are the ones who were pressured. And you see Camille, Imbert, and Rowley
But they want to be prime minister
was
now.
prepared to support the vote of no confidence against Manning.
No, I tell you.
So this is the great thing. You understand? So this is the evidence.
Evidence of what we just said.
Trinidad Guardian Friday, September 13, 2002. And then the Express, Sunday Express, 15 September 2002.
Praise the Lord.
You understand?
Yeah.
And the picture is there. So you see in Ken Valley, Rahel, Pete Rowley, Camille Regis, and Imbert.
They want nothing for black people. They want nothing for the Africans.
Wow.
You hear what I'm telling you?
Yes.
Nothing for Africans.
Fantastic
You know what
piece of
that
information,
meant?
man.
That meant that this would have been the first window of opportunity that African would have got.
All right. So
from
when they voting,
state. Because 98% of the Jamaat are African members.
Precisely.
You understand?
Yes.
So that was the opportunity. When Manin went for it, because the decision was taken. Because even Pandey got in conflict with the Jamaat, with the Finns, with Hassan. Remember that Sunday morning?
Yes, that is correct, Clive.
Eh?
Yes, Clive.
That is the evidence.
Thank you, Clive.
And
Thank you,
they're
Clive.
the only representing
That is it
African.
Thank you, Clive.
You hear
Thank
me?
you.
Thank you very much, Clive.
But
Right.
how could you represent?
History, fact, the truth.
Thank you, Clive. Thank you,
And we
brother
also
Clive. We could
understand-
always depend on you to give us a proper historical
That's
perspective
right.
of things.
Yes. That's
All
what
right.
we
And
know.
listen, you see I wasn't lying?
No, but this is what we
You
know.
see I wasn't lying, Junior
We
man?
know this.
But what
So
about-
what's wrong with these African
But-
people?
but,
You see I wasn't lying?
But the
So
Jamaat-
Manning was always under pressure from these people in this
These
party.
people are ready to take away the party.
That is why they lick him up.
Hijack the
That's why they
party.
lick him up. These are the people who was...
Good evening, caller.
Gladiator forgot Kishon Walcott. He got $1 million too. He got a big he got a big house.
Right, very good.
Gladiator,
Yeah.
$1 million. He got a big duplex upstairs and downstairs house. He
Yes.
got the acres of land in Toko.
Right,
He
that's
got
the
scholarship.
reminding us.
Wow.
You see? You see?
So plenty blacks,
And it's African people.
African people.
Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon, Gladiator. Lagoon.
Well, you see that, and that is why I will encourage them to speak that way, because to every time they open them out and call and be like that, the PNM losing votes.
No,
Losing vote.
what needs and what I would like to see, I looking forward to it, Gladiator. I would like one day that the PNM answer the
They
allegations.
are not going to answer.
Yeah, I want him to come and say this
Yes,
is
they
not
might.
true because of these issues and so on.
They cannot.
Right?
Too much facts out there.
And they must come forward and say it. And
Too much
and
facts.
except to be just calling people names.
I want to see if Lavante going to say dotish.
Because, you know, you raise something there where they try to shoot down people who have the interests of the African
Ask
Yes.
any real community leader from Diego Martin straight up to Toko.
All right, let me-
Ask any of them.
Yes.
What is their fate when they start working with the people in their communities
They
for
should-
development?
Listen,
Ask them what.
let me tell you,
And the moment it
MILO.
happened, that's the moment it happened, they want to
All right, Gladiator.
bring it down,
all
make
kind
it
of
like
names. Okay,
Gladiator.
all kind
We have MILO.
Yes.
When Nar was in office, I was so reminding you today.
Yes.
When on evening I was driving the maxi.
Yes,
And
I
you're coming
remember
down
that.
Eastern Main Road.
Yeah.
All MILO students walking out of Fernanda's building. As PM coming to office, Lennox had to close down because they would not fund the MILO program. That would have saved some of the delinquent that we have now.
Beyond that, Archbishop, we must take into consideration that brilliant program that the NAR had with the busing the African youths and so on.
That's right.
Into area doing agriculture, and it's a tremendously successful program.
But was successful.
Up in Monrepo, they had the 70th Adventists had some 100 and something acres of land up inside there, and they were doing all kinds of
Now-
beautiful agricultural programs,
But they wouldn't
massive
let
amount
NAR
of produce.
survive.
Junior.
And when the PNM came into office, Rowley, Minister of Agriculture, he stopped the program.
Stop everything.
Junior, we have 2 minutes to close off this program here. I want you to touch on the roles played by the boys in Sandy Grande, in Toko Sandy Grande.
It's a brilliant rule. In 1999, the Mr. Kokori asked me to come up.
Are they well known?
Well known, hard working, development. They are involved in development. They have the best resort in the area.
Yes, yes.
They have a development, a housing development in the area. They have a law firm in the area. They are invested in Grandy. And the PNM particularly under this rowdy here, is undermining the boys every step of the way. And if you want to talk about millionaire black men, you could talk about them, but you must also understand that they spend their money in the way of the PNM by the way of billions, by millions rather, and they have not received a return on their investment.
Well, people, we have reached the end. And until tomorrow, we are out of here. So you will see me, you will hear me. From 12 o'clock tomorrow, I'm out of here.
From the hill